All right, welcome to the Cat and Cloud podcast. This is Chris Baca. I'm by myself today. It is the weekend before Thanksgiving. I'm going to be out of town for some family stuff. Chuck's going to be out of town. Didn't plan ahead, so I wanted to get something going for you. And it's kind of fun to be in here on the weekend. It's kind of fun to be by myself every once in a while. So, first of all, we've got a few things going for the Black Friday to Cyber Monday window. If you listen to this podcast on a regular basis, you probably know about our Best Friends Club initiative. If you've never heard of it before, this is how it works. We've got a handful of farmers that we work with in the Best Friends Club. These are people who we have committed relationships to, that we've known for a long time. And for every pound of Best Friends Club coffee we sell, we put $1 into a pot, and that pot goes back to the community where the coffee comes from. And the money's been used for all kinds of things. It's been used for fertilizer, farm improvements, farm equipment. It's been used to plant trees. It's been used notably for hurricane relief. In Honduras, there was a big hurricane a few years ago, and a lot of people's homes got destroyed. So we used some of that money to rebuild some homes. And Damien, who is essentially our flagship Best Friends Club producer, he's the OG member. Some of that money went to pay for his wife Chana's gallbladder surgery, and she's the farm manager for his farm. So we use this money for all sorts of really rad things, and it's fresh in my mind because we're coming off of a visit from Damien himself. He was in town, got to speak at our all-staff meeting, and it was just really incredible to hear straight from these people how the things that we're doing, the initiatives that we're helping put into play, help them in their day-to-day lives and actually make a difference. You know, it's easy to think you're making a difference, but to know for sure that these things make a difference is really powerful. And just seeing the whole staff listen to a producer speak in a meeting was just an incredible experience. So we have a handful of producers that are in the Best Friends Club. So at any given time, we've got one Best Friends Club single origin on the menu, and then also the Best Friends blend on the menu. So again, for every pound of Best Friends Club coffee we sell, we donate the $1 back. And the Best Friends blend, which replaced our Truth, which is our lighter roasted single origin, lighter brewed coffee option, is just a way to be able to donate to this on a regular basis. It's something that we have on the menu all the time, and it's always going to be at least 25% of a Best Friends Club coffee. So that's the lead-in. What are we going to do for Black Friday? So what we're going to do for Black Friday is in that Black Friday to Cyber Monday window online, instead of just having Best Friends Club coffees that we're taking money from and donating back to the Best Friends Club, we're applying that donation to all of our coffees. So if you buy any coffee at all on our website, it could be the Answer, it could be Night Shift, it could be the Decaf, any of the single origins, doesn't matter. For every pound of coffee that we sell on our web store between Black Friday and Cyber Monday, we're going to donate $1 back to the Best Friends Club pot. So this is a way to kind of supercharge that pot of money before the end of the year, and just a way to use some of the holiday shopping energy and enthusiasm for something more than just getting a trinket that you might not need or participating in a sale just because it's happening. So if this is right up your alley, you probably know right away if it's right up your alley. It's no discounts, no deals, nothing like that. Just contribution to something that is undeniably good. So that's what we're doing between Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Okay, now the pressure's on. It's just me alone in a room. I don't have any notes. All I have is my brain. It's a dangerous weapon, that brain. So one of the things that's fresh on my mind this week is values, interpretation of those values, and putting those values into action. So we're a mission-driven organization. We have a set of values. The mission and the values drive everything we do. That way we're just not wandering through space lost. We always have these anchors, and we always have these North Stars to say, okay, cool. We want to do this thing. Here's why we want to do this thing. And here are some values that guide us in how we do this thing. And values are, man, they're incredibly important, but it's also really interesting because unless you have them really dialed in and can explain them really clearly, everyone's going to interpret them a little bit differently. So last week, we did interviews for a roastery team leader, Andre, who's been with us for a long time, who's done an amazing job. And I'm just so excited to have gotten to know him and worked with him, is going to be moving on to a different career. And we have to fill his slot. And those are big shoes to fill. So we're going to be bringing someone on. We had interviews Tuesday and Wednesday, or Wednesday and Thursday. I can't remember which. But one of the common questions that we get from people, especially those who are transitioning from the retail world into the roastery world, is how are certain values applied in a different setting? So one of the recurring values that came up, one of our values is artistry. And artistry is often misconstrued as relating only to the coffee itself, in terms of how we're making espresso, how we're pouring latte art, how are things plated and served beautifully, how are things delivered to the guest. And that's part of it for sure, but that's not all that artistry is. Artistry is really a mindset for how we view our work, or a framework for how we view our work. And one of the quotes I really love from Seth Godin is quite simply, if we see what we do as art, we naturally want to do more of it. If we see what we do as work, we naturally try to figure out how to do less of it. So everything that we do behind the counter, in the roastery, with our partner program, with our employees, has some sense of artistry to it. Even the most basic functions of, let's say you got hired in the cafe, you go through your orientation, you go through your initial training process, and the first position that you land in is the concierge position. Concierge is the first point of contact for most of our guests in the cafe. It's at most other stores, they would call it a reg op. We wanted to be really intentional with our language right out of the gate and say, you're not just operating a register, you're really bringing people into the space, taking care of them, and guiding their experience. So it's really more analogous to a concierge at a hotel, which is where the name inspiration came from, than just someone who pushes button on a register. Because if you go check in at a hotel, you want someone to walk you through, here's where your room is, here's how it's going to work, but also here's maybe what you want to eat down the street. Here's a few things in the neighborhood that are going on today. Here's how you can not just best enjoy your stay in the hotel, but your stay in town. So long story short, you land at the concierge station. And yes, functionally, a lot of that time you are pushing buttons on a register. You're grabbing coffee, you're grabbing pastries, you're grabbing tea, you're grabbing all of these things. But I think we can all relate to seeing someone doing something that seems like it might be a really mundane task, but in the most beautiful way, where there is this flow, there's this artistry to the way that they're doing it. And that's how we think about the concierge station. When I'm looking at someone, and I'm waiting in line and I'm looking at someone run the reg, I want to see something more like a dance than, some grumpy dude just pushing buttons. It's like, how are you maneuvering through the work that you have to do? And how do you see the work that you have to do? So that applies at every level. Same thing if you look into the back of house. If you're looking into the kitchen, it's really easy to get sloppy in the back of house because most back of house positions are what we would call off stage. No element of the show to it. The guest never sees back there. Our kitchen's got some windows into it. And even if it didn't, when you look back there, you don't want to see chaos. You want to see this beautiful dance of people working together to create something amazing. And you can only have that. It doesn't exist just in training. It's a mindset as well. If you go into your work thinking, cool, like I'm a line cook, I'm scrambling eggs, I'm making, 300 burritos today. That's just what my life is. Your work is going to reflect that attitude. If you go in and say, hey, I'm working at Cat and Cloud, I'm a part of this awesome team. Our mission is to create memorable experiences for people. Our mission is to create connection. We're building like these bridges. We're helping people have magical moments throughout their days. That's what I'm doing here. That attitude impacts how you do that work. Again, you're seeing the impact that your work has. You're looking at it as a piece of art, not just a stack of functions. So in the roastery, it's the same thing. There's the artistry that comes with roasting really delicious coffee. There's the artistry that comes with understanding how the roaster works and nailing a curve and being able to taste and adjust. But there's also an artistry to running the roastery floor. You know, if you've been in roasteries, it can easily turn into chaos because at its worst, it's just a manufacturing facility that, again, is off stage. But at its best, it's this beautiful showpiece that you could, you know, one of the goals that we say is like, I want to be able to bring someone into the roastery at any time and give them a tour and not have to worry about clean this up, hide that over there, stock these shelves here, make it look and feel kind of really Willy Wonka. It should just look like that all the time. And the only way that you can achieve that is by seeing your work as art and you know, just keeping those things front of mind. So that was one of the things that came up over and over again in that interview process. So, you know, like, how does artistry work here? How does artistry work? And I think it's cool that that's on people's minds because what we have on our team are a group of baristas, a group of frontline employees who are really passionate about what they do, who have decided that they want to take this path of being a barista really seriously. And that means being really good at the craft. It means being really good with the guests. And it means creating a space that is comfortable, exciting, and fun to be in. So that gets into the second question that I got asked, which is also values related over and over again, which is, how does hospitality work in the roastery? You know, how does hospitality work when you essentially don't have any guests in front of you? And the transition, again, from retail to the roastery, it takes a certain kind of person, because one of the things that you get in the feedback, one of the things that you get in a cafe day in and day out, minute after minute, hour after hour, is positive feedback from guests. So if you're creating these awesome experiences for people, you know, you work in a cafe, you're going to see 300 tickets a day. And it's really common that a good number of those people will look you right in the eye when you slide that beautiful Gibraltar across the counter and say, hey, thank you so much. Like, this really means a lot. Me and my family, we really look forward to coming to Cat and Clouds. This is great. Love what you guys do, et cetera, et cetera. And those are really awesome it's just a really awesome morale booster to hear, to get that instant gratification, instant feedback for your work. And in the roastery, that doesn't exist because there are no guests that you can see. So one of the mental shifts that you have to make, and it's harder for some people than for others, and some people can't make it at all, and that's totally okay. Not everyone is built to work in a coffee roastery, is you have to keep the impact that your work has so front of mind that you can see the arc of the things that you're doing 2, 3, 4, 5 steps down the line. So we all have, there's a few different kinds of guests that we have in the roastery. So one, you know, we're serving our website guests, people who order our coffee online. Then we have our wholesale partners, which is a combination of business dining, some restaurants, and people who have cafes that are just like ours. And every one of those, each of those groups of people really count on what we do. I have a specific kind of empathy for the cafe owners. So if you're in New Jersey or if you're in Texas and you're counting on us for coffee, most cafes are ordering week over week. So I've got a weekly coffee order. I want to age out the coffee in a specific way. I don't want to take on too much inventory at one time because I don't want it to get too old, but I also don't want to have that cash flow out. So week over week coffee order is a thing that cafes really, really, really count on. And if you're expecting to get your shipment of coffee Monday and it doesn't come on Monday, if it comes one day late, that is a huge pain in the ass and directly impacts your ability to give your guests those incredible experiences, just like we're trying to give our guests those incredible experiences. Additionally, if the order is not completely dialed, the same thing happens. So let's say you're relying on the Answer, which is our flagship blend, which is what most people run for milk-based espresso drinks, really great for straight espresso. A lot of people run it as a grab-and-go brewed option as well. So if you have 80% of your order being, if the answer is 80% of your order shows up and some other coffee is accidentally in its place because something got switched around, again, that's a huge problem because we've talked about this before. A brand is a promise. When you go into business and run your business a certain way, you're essentially saying to people like, hey, we are going to do this for you. Here's what we're doing. This is what I can deliver day in and day out, no matter what. And while there's some adventure to be had in, different single origins, a lot of people rely on that solid brewed coffee option. So if their order shows up and that coffee's not there, even if there's another coffee there, it's still a problem. It's a hassle. So we've got these really, really long arcs from roasting the coffee well, cupping it to ensure quality control, making sure we get the orders right, making sure the orders get picked up by UPS, USPS on time, making sure everything is super dialed. That's how hospitality works in the roastery. That's how guest service works in the roastery. And it really is a challenge sometimes because you don't get that feedback on the day-to-day. But working with Mark and Eli in the partner program, which I do quite a bit, I know firsthand that those people do incredibly appreciate what we do. And when we knock it out of the park, it just, man, from a business owner's perspective, one of the things I want from like the vendors that we use, aside from straight quality, is what's going to make my life easier. I want to deliver incredible experiences, but I don't want it to be tricky. I want to be able to count on you. And when we can create something that other people can count on, that's awesome. And you're doing that in the roastery. Additionally, in the roastery, because you don't have that guest feedback, the leadership role is really, really important because the leadership group, so in our case, that's a team leader and a coordinator. They're there to supercharge the energy and be a constant reminder of what everyone's work is contributing to. So that's a different version of hospitality that's not guest to employee, but leadership to employee. And I think, these two things circle around this idea that we bring up all the time. That is one of the things that can make whatever you do feel more powerful is to consistently be aware of the impact that your work has. And when you think about those things, it doesn't matter what job you have. And you can break it down into even individual tasks. In our cafe, something like cleaning the bathroom is incredibly important. And it's not clean the bathroom because your boss told you to clean the bathroom and you're going to get fired if you don't, or clean the bathroom because it's dirty. It's clean the bathroom because we've made a promise to provide these incredible experiences for people. And that means if they go to the restroom, the level of show in the restroom has to live up to the level of show in the rest of the cafe, because that one detraction can bring an experience from a 9 or a 10 down to a 6 or a 7. So that's why you clean the bathroom, is to enable these experiences, not just because your boss told you to. And when we can keep those things front of mind, consistently remind our staff and connecting the what to the why, it's really empowering. And one of the, I wouldn't say discoveries, but one of the things that I've always come by really, really naturally is that, that framing is a choice. We can choose to see how our work matters, or we can convince ourselves that it doesn't. And that story in our head is really, really, really powerful. So just like constant reminder, everything begins and ends with a human being. Every product that you make, every experience that you create, everything is ultimately going to end up in the hands of someone else. Even if it's not a physical thing, it might be a digital thing. It might be a traditional piece of art, like a painting. It might be a song. It might be a poem. Those are going to be imbibed by and enjoyed by humans. And when we can keep that front of mind in our work, it just makes creating everything so much more fun, so much more meaningful. And I'm a firm believer that the people who are taking in what we create can feel that intention and can feel that care and love. And that's just a key tenet of how we roll here. That's how we do things. So this is our Thanksgiving week podcast. Hope everyone's going into the holiday season feeling really good. I know it's a busy time for a lot of people, so hopefully you're, enjoying it, because shit, it's great to be with friends. It's great to be with family. All right, y'all, stay dialed. Peace.
Hey everyone, that's the podcast for the week. Thanks so much for listening. If you heard something that inspired you, let us know, or tell a friend. These are the types of connections that are the most important to us and that we seek to create every day. If there's something you heard and you want to know more about, send us an email to podcast@catandcloud.com or head to our website, catandcloud.com/podcast, and let us know. While you're on our site, check out everything we have to offer. Dive deep into one of our single origin coffees or pick up a little treat for yourself. We have something for everyone, so check it out. Also, find us in the usual places: YouTube, Instagram. We're always there sharing amazing things. All right, that's it. Thanks everyone for being awesome. We'll be back next week.